Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Movie Critic Rob here with the Movie Channel, and today we are talking about the DCEU's fourth film in the franchise, Wonder Woman, starring Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. So before we begin, let's talk a little background. This is the DCEU's fourth film in the franchise, and it had a lot riding on it, partially because it was the first female-led superhero movie. And so, obviously it had a lot riding on it, but I really believe that it was definitely a success. And let me say, just off the bat, this is a non-spoiler review for the first 5 minutes. Then later on we'll be talking spoilers, but don't worry, I'll let you know when. This is a resounding victory for the DCEU, and they pulled out all the stops for Wonder Woman, and director Patty Jenkins does a marvelous job, may I even say wonderful job, with the source material and really adapting it to our context while still giving it the treatment that Wonder Woman deserves. It really, if we were to compare, and I know, as soon as you compare something DC to something Marvel, people will stab you in the chest, but if I were to compare, it's the perfect blend of Captain America and Thor. Done even better. And yes, I'm saying they were done even better because for all that I love those two movies, I admit they could have been done better. And for Thor, at least, the parts on Asgard were ridiculously amazing, but when they came to Earth, it was kind of bland. This was everything that Thor needed to be, which already was a great movie, but it turns out that much better. The introduction to Themyscira and to everything there and how the world works there was fantastic. And I love Gal Gadot, seeing her not so much in charge as she was in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, but more the fish out of water, kind of like how Thor was in the first Thor movie, and really selling us on that, which was really important. The movie has a very basic plot, but it rises and falls on these characters and on these performances given by Gal Gadot and by Steve Trevor. So the positives, obviously, Gal Gadot is fantastic. She can carry a film and then some. Chris Pine was fantastic. Everybody really did a fantastic job. The cinematography was good. They have color now in the DCEU, thank God. But everything was done well. The chemistry between the characters was done really well. Everything really top marks on everything, as far as tonality and as far as character development is concerned. Now, my only negatives that I have for this movie were in the second act, right? There's a big action scene in the very middle of the movie, which is expected. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic, just breathtaking, inspiring, all that you want. And then as soon as that ends, the movie kind of struggles to find its footing for about, I'd say, 10, 15 minutes before the plot kickstarts again, and we have a go again at the plot. And then the other negative that I found with the movie was the villain character. And I know one of the greatest weaknesses of superhero movies, especially lately, has been that they don't develop their villains enough to where the heroes are great, and they're going to survive, so the villain doesn't get that much development. And it's here again, unfortunately, with Wonder Woman. Even though we hear him spoken of throughout the entire movie, we don't really see him do evil things, and it was not till the very end, although they do a very good twist on who you expect as the villain and then who ends up being the villain. I thought that was fantastic, even though I knew who it was because I know who was cast as the real villain, but don't go looking because that's a big spoiler. But other than that, I thought everything was handled really, really well. The final act is the one last negative that I had. The final act really does nothing else for the superhero genre. It's really the same thing over again, the big CGI battle, which is not bad. I just wish she would have found a more creative way to take down the villain, seeing as how the movie was so creative up to this point. But nevertheless, it was an inspiring moment, and definitely worked. I just would have liked something different, which may have made the movie that much better. Not that it wasn't already good. It's fantastic. So my final thoughts. I really think the movie was such an improvement for the DCEU, and if this is a sign of things to come, I want more of it. And I want more Wonder Woman with Patty Jenkins directing. She did amazing. And I really, really am looking forward to really Batman and Wonder Woman have been the two standouts in the universe thus far. So who knows, by the time we get into Justice League later on this year, who else is going to be taking that forefront for the DCEU? Right now, it's in great hands as far as Wonder Woman and Batman are concerned, and I'm really looking forward to everything that they're going to bring in the later years. So now I'm going to leave this non-spoiler part behind, and I'm going to give you all a few seconds to get out of here if you don't want to listen to some spoilers, because I will be talking some little spoilers for those of you that have already seen the movie, particularly about the villain character. So get out, get out, get out. And if you're still here, I'm going to assume that you're here for the spoilers. So the villain is Ares, the god of war, and he is mentioned all the way throughout the movie. And you think it's this one guy, and it ends up being David Thewlis' character. David Thewlis is a fantastic actor. I love him in Dinotopia, which most of you have never heard about. Dinotopia and Kingdom of Heaven, Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven, the Crusader epic. And he does a fantastic job, but when they put him in that CGI makeup, or this, you know, the whole CGI thing, and it just becomes really generic. I really like the characters. Everybody that played a supporting character was great. There's really not a lot of spoilers to talk about other than who the villain is, because you think it's going to be Danny Huston's character, who has played a villain countless times. And he does a great job, and he is a villain, but he's not the main villain. And the movie plays on that because Wonder Woman kills Danny Huston's character, but nothing happens, and she thinks it's going to solve the problem, and it doesn't solve the problem. And then you figure out that it's actually David Thewlis who's been there in the background the entire time, who's actually the villain. And then, you know, a lot of, as George Lucas would say, they fight. But the movie was wonderful. I really recommend everybody go and seeing it because it was fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. This has been Movie Critic Rob with the Movie Channel, and as always, now I'm signing off.